Hey, what's going on, guys? Today is going to be a product test video. We're taking a look at the Glazer product here from Gunprimer. So Gunprimer sent me a couple of products to check out and share with you guys. And if you have struggled at any time with dust on your stuff, especially on scale figures and statues is kind of what this is primarily for, although it can also be used on plastic models, Gunpla and the like as well, and we'll get into that in today's video. But if you don't have a proper display case to keep your stuff in, undoubtedly you've noticed that, stuff gets dusty over time. That's just how things work. This Glazer product is supposed to help with that. So this bottle is a 60 milliliter bottle. It comes in this box like this. I think it goes for around $30 to $40, and essentially what we're going to have in here is just a small spray bottle. Gonna come like this here. So we've got the bottle, which has a cap on it already, and then we've got this spray attachment here that will allow us to pump action spray this, and the bottle, as you can see, wrapped here in some protective wrapping. So it's going to look like that, Glazer finishing solution. So basically what this is meant to do is to be applied onto something like, again, like a scale figure, a statue, anything plastic, PVC, anything like that. This will not only clean away the dust that's already on there, so you don't need to clean off the dust ahead of time. This will clean away the dust all in one go. And then it's also supposed to make your figure or whatever more dust resistant, in that the surface, like the smooth glossy surface that this will give you, is supposed to make it so that dust won't accumulate so much over time. Now, I'm skeptical that dust will never accumulate. I think that this maybe will help to certainly slow the accumulation of dust on your product, whatever you're using it on, but I think probably inevitably over time, anything is going to get dusty. So another cool thing that they let me know that you can do with this is that you can actually spray it and apply it onto just your acrylic display case, and that will give it a smoother and clearer look as well. So it honestly seems to be like it's working essentially a lot like the Pledge floor cleaner that a lot of us have used in the past for like a clear coat on our models and stuff. I guess the idea with this, one advantage would be with this, ideally, hopefully, is that over time it doesn't yellow. Like that was the main problem that a lot of people had with using like a Pledge floor finish on their products, is that over time you could notice some yellowing with that. And so assuming that that's not going to be the case with this, I won't be able to test that in today's video, just because that's something that's going to happen over a long period of time, if it's going to happen at all, but it's something to look out for. Anyway, so we're going to test that out here in just a moment. Just take a look at a couple of other products that they sent here. One is the dust brush stick here, and what this is you guys have maybe seen these around. What you're going to use this for is basically right before painting or applying any kind of top coat or anything like that, spraying anything onto your kits, you can just use this to clean off the dust. So I've been actually meaning to get one of these for a long time, and I really like the feel of the handle on this. It does feel really good. But yeah, I've been meaning to get one of these just because they can be very useful when you're painting, like right before you go to paint. Just dust off your parts lightly. You can just clean them up, get any dust off of there before you lock that dust in with your paint, which is something you don't want to do. So we'll test that out here as well. I believe this one goes for around like $7 to $10, so pretty affordable. And then we also have the microfiber towel large. Now this is essentially exactly what the name would imply, just a microfiber towel. And this one as well, I think goes for around $6 to $10 for this one, and it's just going to come in a package like that. This is going to be particularly helpful for applying the Glazer. So you don't necessarily need to use a microfiber cloth, I think, like this, a towel. You can pretty much just use any kind of application cloth, because as it goes with the Glazer, you're not meant to spray it anywhere around where there might be like joints on a model kit, just because the smooth finish that it gives you is going to loosen your joints. And while the moisture of this is meant to evaporate pretty quickly, I guess you probably just don't want it to be like staying in your joints and stuff. So if it's like a model kit or something, a figure that has joints on it, you're meant to spray the Glazer onto the cloth first and then just wipe it onto certain areas. So all right, let's get to testing now. I gathered a couple of things that we can test here on, all of which have accumulated a good amount of dust. So for example, first here on this Rain Mikamura garage kit here that I custom painted in the style of Kika Frontal. Basically just want to test our brush here first, just to see how well this works. I'm sure it's going to get rid of this dust that's accumulated here on this. And just because this is a garage kit, I'm just wanting to be a little bit more careful with it. This is resin, and I've got a bunch of dust here on the base as well. I'm just trying to get it so that you guys can see that pretty well. Maybe like that, hopefully is easy enough for you guys to be able to see. You can see if I drag my finger on it, that trail of dust there. So this has just been here in my office and got dusty. It's not in any kind of display case at all. So you can use this brush just for dusting like this. Like I said, it's really kind of meant to be used for brushing off your parts, specifically before painting. But if you've got stuff, you know, around that's kind of getting dusty, and particularly, especially like model kits and Gunpla, a lot of things have like a lot of sharp little points and details and things like that. The brush is good for just getting in all the nooks and crannies and getting rid of that and being kind of gentle in the process. So I mean, works well enough, as I would expect, although I don't get the sense that this is the same as an anti-static brush. So working with this, it does feel like it's basically just a dust brush stick and doesn't have the same like anti-static properties that you would have from a more expensive brush, because a lot of times the anti-static brushes go for more like $30 or more just for those, which is really expensive, which is why I haven't opted to get one. But this one does just feel just more just like a soft, gentle brush. So it's not going to be quite as effective as like a proper anti-static brush, but works well enough, I think. All right, test subject 2 here is going to be my Apex model kit, which has a good amount of dust on it here as well, and it also has some clear parts. So again, what they said for model kits, you're not meant to spray it directly onto the model kit, just where it has moving parts. If they had like this big area right here, I could probably just spray some here on the top. There's no moving parts there and it would be fine, but I'm going to just spray into the microfiber towel here. I'm going to spray a pretty good amount, and then we'll just wipe off his chrome dome here and see if there's any noticeable effect. Now obviously it's going to look kind of more shiny because it's sort of wet. I'm gonna give that a minute to dry and then see how it's looking. And I should also mention too that even though it's wet, it doesn't feel like necessarily really sticky. I can kind of feel something, but it doesn't feel sticky in the way like, oh, if I'm gonna be touching this before it dries, I'm gonna be leaving a bunch of fingerprints. Doesn't seem to be the case, so I think it is probably going to take a few minutes to dry up and not have that little tiny bit of sticky feeling to it, but at least I know that it's not going to be anything that's going to be leaving marks. Also, just to note that it doesn't really have too much of a smell either, so if you're worried about this being sort of like toxic, or you don't want to spray it inside or around, you know, pets or animals, I'm not sure if it's safe for pets, I shouldn't say that, but it certainly doesn't have any smell and doesn't appear to be like anything you need to worry about, like the toxicity of it. But I also have the clear effect base here for the Apex kit I want to try this out onto, so I'm just going to spray some directly onto the base here. There we go. I mean, yeah, honestly, I think it does do a pretty good job of giving you a really nice, more clear or glossier finish here on this clear part, especially. You look at that, I mean, it does look really good. So works really quite well, I guess. Let's go ahead and try this on one more test subject here. This is just kind of this plastic figure here from Monster Hunter. And this one also has a good amount of dust here on this. And on this one, I'm going to actually spray it on and then wipe it off. And they said to spray it on about a good 6 to 8 inches away, so not going to be too close. So just give that a good misting on there. And again, I didn't clean off any of the dust ahead of time, so this is meant to just clean off the dust at the same time that it's applying the product on here for us. All right, and now it does seem to work pretty well. I mean, it looks pretty clean, shiny, glossy, so I mean, it looks good. The only thing that I think you're going to maybe run into issue with is just because if it's a figure or a model kit, again, whatever, it's going to be in like the nooks and crannies where it's going to be difficult to clean. And even with the microfiber towel, I mean, you can kind of like get it in there, but it's going to be difficult to get to the really hard to reach places. Like say, for example, like down in right here in between the backpack and the body there, like there's some dust. And so one of the option is to spray this onto the microfiber towel and then apply it. They said you can also spray it onto the brush and apply it. So I'm just gonna spray some onto the brush and then basically just brush it into those hard to reach areas. Again, for something that has like a ton of detail and a ton of crevices and again, hard to reach areas like this is something that it's going to take you a little bit of time. It's not like you can just like spray over everything and then just walk away. I think to really apply it thoroughly and get like the most effect, you're going to want to, you know, really take some time with it and kind of get it in everywhere. But again, I mean, it seems to be working pretty well. So yeah, I just want to come back a couple minutes later and see how the brush is holding up, see if it's going to make the brush maybe all sticky and everything as well, or if it's going to ruin the brush. Doesn't seem to be. Seems like it's going to be all right, as again, the product is meant to evaporate. So as long as it evaporates and kind of leaves the brush still effective at doing its brush thing, then it should work pretty well, I guess. So overall verdict here on the Glazer, I think it probably works pretty well. I think, again, the long-term effect of it is something that I'm not really able to test here. And certainly if I notice something over time, I'll let you guys know, but it seems to be like a pretty good product, especially if you do have a lot of like statues and scale figures and things like that. And, you know, even if you have them in a display case, they can get kind of dusty. And even if they're not necessarily getting very dusty, I think this could be a good product just for kind of protecting the look and finish of them as well. So certainly something worth checking out. If you guys do have any other further questions about the Glazer, if there's anything else that I could maybe test for you guys, certainly let me know in the comments section. I'm happy to do maybe some follow-up testing if there's something else you guys would like to see tested out here with this, and I can maybe just post that as like a TikTok video or something for you guys later on. But for now, check out the different Gunprimer products at USA Gundam Store. We've got a link down in the video description for you guys to check some of those out, as I've got a number of different hobby tools and supplies and things that you could certainly find some use for. So check those out on the website. And thank you guys so much for checking out the video here today. Hope that it was helpful and informative for y'all. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Later.